Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Pretty Little Liars Season 4. So this season came out in the year of 2013 and 2014. Man, it's been like nearly a decade, well, a little over a decade since this season came out. It's so crazy to think that it's been so long and everything. After rewatching this, I now have mixed feelings about this season. In the past, I will always say the best seasons of Pretty Little Liars is 1 through 4, and then 5, 6, and 7 are just like horrible as a complete whole. You know, after rewatching, I now regret buying this on DVD many years ago. See, this season was the second Pretty Little Liars DVD I've ever owned. The first season was always the first, then this one, and then season 2 I just now ordered a couple of months ago after rewatching and realizing just how good it is. And because I was in the Pretty Little Liars hype nearly a decade ago, I was just like that, like in that like state of mind where I just needed everything Pretty Little Liars. And at that time, this season was really engaging to me. Like the plot lines, the twists and turns, and the whole alley like being alive, truly confirmed and everything. I was just in that like hype, you know what I'm saying? But years later after this series have ended, and I now know what really goes on in the Pretty Little Liars universe and how characters end up and behind the scenes stuff. I now rewatch this season with completely different eyes, and I'm just kind of like, this season really wasn't written that well. Like, it really just wasn't. Like, it's actually pretty confusing. And Marlene King, she did her best along with her crew because, like, this is also the season where you can clearly tell that they had a lot of stuff like prepared for this season with the side characters, but the side characters who are recurring decided to be all like, yeah, we're out. Because they all took new projects. Some took brand new shows and were part of the main cast, and others were like filming like either television series and movies at the same time. So it put like a monkey wrench in their plans and everything, and they had to like rework stuff around and try to do their best, and it's just a confusing mess this season. Like characters they try to build up from like previous seasons just completely disappear after like a few episodes. Then their new characters come in, and it's just kind of like some of them are written to be very confusing, like Shauna makes no sense in this on this series. You can clearly tell that everything that's going on with Shauna was probably supposed to go to Noel Khan, but since that actor took on other projects, they had to like find like replacement for him, and just like they put it in the Shauna character, which just completely made no sense. How do you go from working from like a costume store to being just like a guest spot in the show to all of a sudden being like, a recurring character where a lot of bad stuff is happening in the show, and it's like a lot of like, I'm losing my train of thought because that's just how confused I am when it comes to a character. Because, I don't read from a script. Everything I say comes straight from my head. I can't even think of anything to say because her character is so confusing. It's just like she went from like, working in a costume store to being like this person who's just like, behind the scenes in every little plot, and it just don't make no sense. And then they just killed her character off. Like, it makes no sense. And it's like the writers tried to be so clever with the whole A reveal because it's kind of like, okay, because they're 4 seasons in, they had to do something different. Like, they had to do something different, you know what I'm saying? So after they decided to reveal kinda like who the whole red coat slash A thing is after just a few episodes, and so we knew exactly who to look out for, the major bad person, you know what I'm saying? This whole red coat slash A person. Or then they decide to do, well, maybe red coat and A are two completely different people. Why do that? You set it up that they're the same person. Now you're setting it up that they're different people. Then they set up the like, okay, the reveal of A coat slash like red coat A whatever is this person. So they're like, okay, we're gonna watch out for this person every time they're around the cast. It's gonna be something bad or evil. No, this person barely showed up in on the season. They only really showed up for like one episode, really, maybe two, but for the most part, one major episode where we actually get to see the person's face. But then it's kind of like we just constantly get told this person does the A slash red coat stuff, but we never really get to see them do it unless we see the back of them, and it's just kind of like this person's not even in the show. So it's kind of like it's one of those things that where your intensity level is weakening because you don't have this person on your freaking show. So then they have to like give this person's like, stuff to a completely different character in the show, like Ezra. And it makes no sense because it furthers assassinates his character. I mean, it's bad enough he had an underage relationship he was grooming, but now you have him stalking and writing a book, and because they couldn't give it to the actual red coat slash A character because that person's barely in the show. Then they're like, hey, we can be clever. Even though we told you for the entirety of the season that red coat and A is this person. Hey, in the last, I don't know, 10 episodes or so, let's just like throw like, caution into like the wind and just kind of like, trick you again and everything and pretend like this person's not really involved and this person was actually hired. And it's like, why do that? Why do that? You set this whole thing up, told us all season long for about 20 something, no, not 20, but like 10 something episodes, a little over, that red coat and A is exactly this person. But then y'all like, maybe it is and maybe it's not. And it's like, why do that to us? Why? And so I just don't know about this season no more, man. I said before, season 2 had blemishes in the writing. Season 3, there started to be cracks. And I've said before, season 4 is cracked. And then season 5, 6, and 7 just shattered. Like it really is, man. It's just kind of like, if I would have known back then what I know now, I probably would never bought this on DVD. I kind of just want to toss it in the trash, but I love the art cover so much with the red coats and everything. It's kind of like Harry Potter. I was in that Harry Potter hype years ago, and so I used to buy all the DVDs and stuff. Now there's probably like 2 or 3 DVDs I would have never bought now just because they're a little bit more boring. And it's just kind of, it sucks when you're in that hype state of mind, This is also what I call the meta season. See, fans have always complained about this show. And so the writers and the creators, they actually pay attention to what fans say about this show. And so they decided, okay, we're going to address some of these things in a very meta kind of way. Like when Detective Tanner looks at the girls, the liars, and she's all like, if I would have dressed like them when I was their age. I forget what she says after that, but I think she said something about her dad would have been furious or smacked her upside the head or something like that. I don't know which. but it's like one of those, and it's just kind of like, because fans are always talking about how these characters are always dressing like adults and supermodels, and they're only like teenagers in high school, but they dress like so like mature and sophisticated looking and glamorous, and it just doesn't make no sense. Then there is like Allie. The character was very, very, very sexualized in season one and season one only. To where, getting naked in like a locker room while having like your friend kiss you on the back of the neck, to moaning on the ground as an adult man is doing her and everything, to wearing bikinis in that one beach episode flashback, and just like, all kinds of stuff, right? And this is back when the actress was 12 and 13 years old. Like, because she lied about her age. So she was 12 in the pilot and like 13 for season one. So they decided to reference this, like, when in another flashback, when Allie's talking to her mom and she's all like, I don't like that top you wore. It was like too revealing and blah, 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 and stuff like that. Because since season one, she hasn't been sexualized the way she, like, has in other seasons and stuff. And thank God for that. But, like, still, like, the damage was done. And so, like, what is it? Something else meta happened. I forget what. Something else meta happens, but I can't remember what it is now. But it's just like little things that fans complained about that they decided to address or change in, like, the show. But one of the things that's so confusing about this season is when it comes to flashbacks. They tried to show that Allie actually liked Toby and tried to kiss him, but then he wasn't interested in all of that. So it's kind of like, that's when she started being mean to him. Clearly, this was supposed to go to the Jenna actress, but she was busy filming like a miniseries and a movie during this time, which brings me next to my next complaint. This is the season where the recurring cast members just like hightailed it and took on other projects. It is insane, and I mean like insane, because the thing about this show, to keep it interesting, is that its recurring characters are very, very shady, and they had a lot of bad stuff to do in season 2 and 3 with the whole A-Team. And so as stuff was starting to get really good and juicy with the whole A-Team, all of a sudden the A-Team's all like, yo, we got other projects to do. I mean, who knows why they took these other projects? I mean, on this show, they were literally just recurring characters and guest starring characters. So they're kind of like, yo, we got to make more money someplace else. So they hightailed it and started being part of the main cast and other shows and taking on other projects. And as a result, this left a lot of their storylines up in the air and had to be given to other characters and stuff. Allie liking Toby and trying to kiss him makes absolutely no sense. Period. And now this contradicts things from that of season 1, 2, and 3 with the whole relationship of Allie and Toby and Jenna and the Jenna thing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense anymore, because in season 1 he said that Allie said she can get him away from Jenna. Then of course she made him take the blame for the whole Jenna thing with the stink bomb. And then she framed him talking about, oh, he's always peeping through the curtains and the window watching us undress, when she knew for a fact it wasn't him and it was Ian recording them, because she wanted Ian to do that and stuff and he wanted to do it. And so it's kind of like, now it makes her seem like, oh, since he rejected her, this is why she forced him to take the blame. But then, of course, when she comes back, what do they try to do? They try to redeem her. It seems like all the stuff that Noel was supposed to do went straight to Shauna and everything. Then it seems like all the stuff Redcoat slash A was supposed to do went to Ezra and everything. Then what I was gonna say. Oh, and then there's like Ren. Ren makes no sense. Ren changes to a completely different character where he knows and is working with that of like Redcoat slash A. Because he does something really sinister in like this season. But then all of a sudden the dude is nowhere to be found all the way till the last season. From season 4 to season 7, we don't see that dude again. And then it shows he really is a bad character. Only because the dude went on to another show. Clearly he was supposed to be Big A and everything. But the actor took a different role. And literally, like I remember, what's her name? Tamara Sazerk or something like that, the one who plays Jenna. She said that they tried to make her a series regular on the show, but she decided to only take guest starring roles because the guest starring roles pay more. So she says she regrets this now, and I can totally see why. Because this season, like I said before, she's only in like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, and she doesn't really do much, and her character doesn't make no sense in this season. How do you go from being a vengeful like vixen in season 2? Season 2 was Jenna's best like portrayal in the entire thing. Season 1 was really good as well because it set her up, and we didn't know how misdevious she was. But season 2 was Jenna's best like role in the show. Then season 3, she was just there and really didn't do nothing. And now in this season, she's non-existent for the most part. And I do wonder if the creators had a little backlash towards her because she didn't want to be a series regular. And clearly they had more stuff intended for her and stuff. I don't know. But like, the whole Ren thing just doesn't make no sense. It's like, if you knew you couldn't commit, they should never wrote that for him. It's kind of like the whole Spencer and the field hockey stick that got introduced in season 2 very early on, and then it's kind of like they dropped that entire storyline for 2 whole seasons and then finally brought it back up in season 4. It's like, how do you go through that big time of a gap like with this whole field hockey stick thing? It's like you think that's going to be a major thing in season 2, but then they just completely drop it in season 2. Then in season 3 they go on a completely different storyline with Spencer, and then they're like, oh wait, remember that hockey stick thing? Yeah, we gotta kind of explain that. And so, like, so they brought it back up in this season for a huge twist that this was completely shocking. But of course, what do you expect when it comes to Marlene King? Now, I don't put the sole blame on her because, some of these actors and actresses took on different roles, but they probably wouldn't have to take on other roles if they show up so briefly in other seasons. Like, take Melissa, Noel, Lucas, and characters like Ren and stuff. They only appear in like a handful of episodes in the past seasons. They can't survive off that. Their acting career isn't gonna go up because of that. So they take on other roles and everything. And I get it, but it's like, 'cause this show has a huge cast. It has a huge cast of main characters, recurring characters, side characters, because this show is so intriguing and mysterious and stuff. And so sadly they didn't have enough time. So I don't put the full blame on her, but she should have did a little bit more better, and also the network is to blame as well. But when it comes to the writers, they always have the same group of writers every season, and every season they bring in 2 new people. But the thing about this season feels like a filler season. Because of all the backstage crap going on with the stars not being there and having to rework stuff around, this whole season just feels like filler. There's more things explained than there is shown in this season. And you never want to be told something, you want to see it. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the pacing is so off. First, it goes like pretty quickly, then it goes really slow toward the middle, and then it kind of picks back up a little bit towards the end. Like this whole A reveal thing, they literally keep telling us who A in the red coat is all season. And so it's like, but then it's kind of like it drags. The girls are like, well, who's red coat and who's A? You literally said that a couple of episodes ago. How can you not know and everything? Well, they deceive and lie to us a lot, so we don't know. And that's the writer's fault. They think they're clever. Like, they really think they're clever. How you gonna set something up, but then halfway through, you're gonna be all like, well, maybe it is and maybe it's not. Then in the next season, oh, it is. And it's like, why do that to us for? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? And so, like, the writing is just kind of like a little boring this season. Like, I said it like on my last review, season one is the most teen drama like driven, and the other ones feel just more like drama and stuff. Season one does feel completely different from the rest of the seasons because it is a teen drama. Everything after that, everything just starts intensifying, becoming ambitious and everything. So the writing had to kick up to where it's more of a mystery drama, crime type thing. That's totally fine. But the problem is in season one, two, and three, the writers were more clever with how they explain things and how they twist and turn things and how they do red herrings. Here, the writing just feels kind of bleak and very flat. There's like, in the first half is very boring to where there aren't that much twists and turns, and where there is a twist and turn, it's just done in a very lazy kind of way. Now, the whole Ezra thing was the biggest twist and turn there was, but it don't matter because, spoiler alert, he still turns out to be a good guy in other seasons and stuff because they just couldn't get rid of this dude. And they even wrote it to where him and Arya are broken up at the beginning of this season. So it's like, thank you, God, hallelujah, and everything. But then they went and get them back together midway into the season. But then you turn out that he's even worse than what he was before. And then she just ends up forgiving him and getting married at the end of the series and stuff. And it's like, why? Because somebody on the show wants you to believe they're soulmates and everything? It's like, no, commit and do what you gotta do. But it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't, like, they're in a tight spot. If their stars couldn't be on the show, do you just introduce new characters and have them fill the gaps? But then when they did that with Shauna, it became very confusing. It's like all of a sudden she's been best friends with Allie since they were 3 years old or something like that. Because, she lived next to her grandmother. Then she's dated Jenna. Then Allie wanted her to keep an eye on the liar. Then she turned up trying to kill people. And it's just kind of like, this is clearly they panicked and didn't know what to do and like just started giving characters like whatever type storylines and stuff. And it was confusing back then and it's even more confusing now. Just kind of like the whole Allie thing. Here's this like fierce, like mean girl who manipulates people and took matters into her own hand in season two by hiring a guy who hacked cell phones and stuff to find out where A was gonna be, then got a hotel room and spied on A. Now it's like she's terrified because she got clunked in the head and got buried alive and everything. So now she's like, oh no, I'm so scared. Like, let me run away from home and like, and all this other stuff. And Then she's like, I'm too terrified to come back, but I keep coming back to spy on y'all to see if y'all okay and to help y'all out. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I get it. You can't trust two of the cops in Rosewood, but the rest are like okay, even though they're incompetent, like with the rest of the adults. But still, you can't trust two if you have a lot of evidence on. Like it don't make no sense. Like Allie makes no sense when she comes back. She spies on people. She knows people's secrets. She can get people fired from their jobs. She could have got Garrett and Wilden fired from their job with all the evidence she has on them. But yet she's too terrified to come back home and tell the cops and everything about this mysterious A. And it's just like the girls, not just Allie, but even the liars themselves become very stupid again in this show. Like in season 2, the girls got smart. Season 3, they got stupid, and even season 4, they become like plumb stupid dumb and, and everything. And that's because the writing was bad. Like take Spencer and the parrot. My God, like you mean to tell me Spencer is so smart that like when she heard the parrot sing and whistle and stuff, well, actually not sing, but whistle a song, it wasn't a song, it was like a number, a phone number, because Spencer is so smart, like Batman, she could figure that out. And then Spencer went to like this frat party and then somebody bumped into her to where she fell through a wall, and that wall happened to be a crawl, like a hidden compartment where people spy, and like this is a phone, and this is where like Boy Shorts or Allie was making phone calls and stuff like that. Everything just happens to happen in a coincidence and everything. Like that was a big coincidence. And the whole parrot thing was just stupid. How did she know that was a phone number? Like that don't make no sense. Then the whole like hidden compartment in the frat room with the telephone there, that don't make no sense. And it was a huge coincidence that she found that. A lot of stuff this season happens because of coincidence. And it's just kind of like, nah, man, like life don't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it really don't. But another problem I'm having with this show, especially this season, is that the characters are way too smart to be like teenagers. Like they're technically 17, 18 now, the characters. And because they're about to graduate from high school. But ever since season 1 to now, they've done some crazy, bizarre stuff. Mona is literally Lex Luthor and Hannibal Lecter combined in one, but she doesn't eat people. She's way too smart, way too cunning. She figures everything out. I don't believe for a second this girl is running around town spying on everybody, then like, you know, bribing everybody or blackmailing everybody to figure out more information. Like the girl literally figures out everything. And I mean everything. And I know people love her because that's their queen and everything, but it's too unrealistic. I can believe, yes, that she was a nerd back in the day, became hot. Yes, I can believe that all her free time, she plotted revenge. Yes, I can believe in all her free time, she learned some basic computer skills and this and that. But like, and I can believe that she can, like, anybody can text a person and spy on a person. But I don't believe she's this super computer whiz, like super hacker and everything. The where like she can hack in the school system, she can hack into people's cars, she can hack into this and that. She knows how to disable the cameras to a cop car and get like the video footage and everything, and know exactly where the recording tape thing, whatever you call it, is and stuff. I don't believe a girl who's between the age of like 15 to 17, 18 can do all that. Like, come on, man. And it's the same thing with Caleb. Like at first, yes, I can believe he's poor and homeless. Yes, I can believe he can pimp out your cell phone and add more storage to it and download apps and stuff like that. But then they made him into like a supercomputer hacker who can like decrypt codes and all at 16, 17 years. Come on now. And like Noel Khan, like, wiring money to like other countries and stuff like that. It's like, dude, you're only like 16, 17, 18. And not only that, but all of a sudden, Noel is like a nice guy now. After what he did in season two and season three and a little bit of season one, now all of a sudden he's nice and he's helping Allie like stay hidden. The dude is literal scum. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really regret buying this season. I really do. Like, I really, really do. Oh my God. And not only that, but it's just kind of like, then there is like the whole Red Coat A. And I haven't said this person's name yet because I don't want to spoil it just yet. But the thing this person does this season and what they do next season and all the money they have and to construct a giant dollhouse and now, granted, Red Coat A is a little bit older, like in the early 20s or mid 20s, but still, man, like you really expect me this person is able to do all that all only because you said one throwaway line of, oh, they took finance in college. Ooh, so they're able to do all this. And not only that, but back to Mona. It's like every person who's A, no matter what season it is, seems to have a buttload of money that they can bribe people with and they can buy stuff with. Like, you mean to tell me that a 16-year-old girl has so much money that, cause we don't know what her parents do for a living, because it's weird. Because some characters in this show are poor, but their parents have great jobs, like Emily. Her dad is in the literal military and fighting in the Afghan war, and yet they struggle with money. Her mom works for the police department as like a secretary, and yet they still don't have that much money to where Emily struggles. In season one, Hannah mom struggles to pay the bills, but her mom works at a bank, and people who work at banks, they get paid pretty well, you know what I'm saying? Not that well, but pretty well. And military people get paid extremely well. And it's like, how are they struggling? So what does Mona's parents do to where Mona can buy all these expensive clothes, have all these like expensive birthday parties? She's able to buy an RV. That she has an RV this season and it gets stolen by A because she makes Toby go and steal it. She has all this computer equipment, all this hacking equipment. She's able to buy hotel rooms by herself and everything, which you're not supposed to do if you're a minor. You also can't buy a car or an RV if you're a minor. She's rarely in school because she's always running around town spying on people. Every time she gets caught, she just says she's crazy in the head and gets locked up in the crazy house. And it's just kind of like, where is she getting all the money and the means and the resources to do all this crap, you know? And she's only in high school, for crying out loud. Oh my God. And how are these girls even able to graduate from high school? They're barely in school. Like, they're always like, sometimes they skip school to do other stuff, and it's like, why aren't their parents trying to keep them in the house at night? These girls are always running around town in the middle of the night, in forests, in the woods, in abandoned buildings and stuff. They're like the Scooby-Doo gang. They're always out and about at night in this creepy place, and their parents have like no idea. And when the parents do try to stop them, they just literally fuss their parents out. Seriously, the disrespect this season of how the liars are always shouting at their parents this season is insane. Like, Hannah is having so many outbursts because of what's going on with her mom that she's constantly shouting at people, and especially adults. They disrespect their parents. cop figures, teachers, like everybody. They're always fussing people out, and they're always giving parents their 2 cents. And it's kind of like, no, you're a teenager and stuff. Like when Caleb confronted Hannah's dad, it's like, dude, who do you think you are? And not to mention, I guess he's loaded with money this season. It's kind of like how when you go from being a poor dude and everything, and it's just like things just kind of happen just to kind of happen. Then, of course, what I do appreciate is how like a lot of these plots revolve around certain characters, but it doesn't make that much sense when these characters aren't in the show. Like Toby's mom, the first half of this entire season revolves around him trying to figure out who murdered his mom because he doesn't think she took her own life. And it's kind of like that's an important storyline, and it revolves to who Redcoat slash A is and their backstory. But this storyline is only literally created to one, give Redcoat A backstory. Two, they had to redeem Toby because they decided in the last season to make him bad, similar to the books, but they couldn't commit because they're all like, no, he's Toby and people love him and Spencer. So they had to redeem him and make him nice and say that, oh, he was just pretending to be bad. But apparently, because of I, Marlene King, he's been bad since season 2 because in her famous like, gotta explain something once the season or series is over and say, oh yeah, this person's been doing this since this season. And it's kind of like, well, we didn't know that. We literally thought he joined the A-Team in season 3, but apparently he joined it in season 2. And so because they couldn't keep him bad, they had to make him nice again. And so they had to give him a sympathetic like storyline this season with the whole mom thing. And like, and plus they needed to give him something to do because he doesn't do much, like, other than being like a love interest. And it's just kind of like this whole thing with his mom would be a heck of a lot more interesting if we actually met the woman, like, but we don't. Like, we've never met her in season 1, 2, or 3, and now all of a sudden she just kind of like, this happens to be a storyline. Like, I think he might have mentioned that like his mom died like a year ago in season 1, but now all of a sudden we're supposed to care about this woman we've never met. How do we know she was really a good mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, the adults in Rosewood are very incompetent and stuff, So how do we know that? But we're supposed to feel sorry because it's Toby. But it's like we never met this woman. Now, if it would have been one of the other parents, then fine. You know what I'm saying? That would have made a heck of a lot more sense. But when it comes to Toby and all his flashbacks, the years never add up. Him being in reform school, him being in juvie, Allie trying to kiss him, Allie visiting him and stuff like that. The whole mom death thing. None of these timelines ever make any sense. And it's so confusing. Because I could have sworn he said that like his mom died a year ago, so okay, she would have died when he was a teenager and locked up. But no, apparently this happened when he was just like a toddler and everything. And apparently he remembers so much from being like a toddler and everything. Because once you find out who Push is, no, actually that still don't make no sense. Because who actually pushes her? The age doesn't make sense to when Redcoat slash A is there. Nothing makes any sense when it comes to him and all these timelines. Oh, this makes me so mad and stuff. Okay, I think I'm getting the whole Redcoat slash A confused with the person who actually. Okay, I know that person did not push Toby's mom. I know Redcoat did not do that. But then they show flashbacks in other seasons of when Redcoat was locked up in the crazy house. but then also this other character. Because you have to think, if Allie is alive, then who the heck is in her like grave? Who's in that crypt? And so they introduced this brand new character out of the blue because Allie is apparently like Hannibal Lecter and can make you do whatever you want. And so like it shows how she can manipulate a person in flashbacks and being told that, of course, without really seeing it. But then this person who actually pushed Toby's mom, okay, yeah, that person would be a teenager too. But when did all this happen, him being locked up? I'm just so confused. And trying to figure out makes me even more confused. Marlene King, I swear to God about you, man. Like I really, really, really do. But back to the whole his mom dying, I don't care. Because I don't know this woman. And when it comes to the parents this season, it would have been a heck of a lot better if it would have been one of them. But the problem is, this is one of those seasons where the parents rarely show up. Ella disappears after about 2 episodes because she goes off with her boyfriend on a trip to another country. Byron only shows up for probably like 2 episodes. There's a lot of stuff going on with Hannah's mom, and that was really intriguing in the first half of the season. What else? Who's the other parents? Oh, Emily's parents never rarely shows up in this show. Like the mom is here and there in the first couple episodes, and the dad comes back home only to disappear and leave and come back and then disappear again. Then A literally smashes through Emily's like front of the house living room with a car. And so Emily and her mom have to stay at Allie's mom's place, only for Emily's mom to disappear from the show again. And Allie's mom keep bopping in and out the show. And so then you have Spencer's parents, which those parents are odd. Like the first half of the season, only her mom appears. Then the second half of the season, only the dad appears. These are 2 parents that are never in the same scene, like in the same time. It's rare for Spencer's parents to be like on screen together, and it's like, why? Is it a money issue? Do you only have the budget to have one parent for one part of the season and the other for the next? Or do they just not get along in real life and don't want to have no screen time together? Like, what's the deal, There are also things in this season that still have not been explained till this day when it comes to like the mystery people in the hoodies or the A fake outs and stuff. Like, who smashed Connor's car? It's never been revealed. Was it A? Was it Ezra? Like, nobody knows. We only have like assumptions and stuff, Like, then, like, seriously, you gotta explain this crap. Like, I really wish they would. Now, something does happen this season where you kind of like, well, who the heck did that, right? And it turns out Marlene King revealed it like years later in an interview. And it's just kind of like, why didn't you just show that like on the show? This is also the first season in which we get a spin-off. So in the Halloween episode, which was eerie, but there really wasn't much to this episode. And so like basically it's just like a very eerie kind of episode, and that's just basically about it, where we meet a character named Miranda, and she meets Caleb, and she's just very awkward. Like, Caleb gets on a bus to go to Ravenswood, and in Ravenswood it's very monochromatic, like it's very muted in colors. And so like he gets on this old-fashioned 1950s looking bus, which is just weird, and it goes to Ravenswood. There's only one guy on the bus. He happens to be this creepy looking man who's apparently missing an eye. One of his eyes like white or something like that. And it's only those 2 on the bus. And then Caleb falls asleep, and then all of a sudden he like wakes up, and there's a girl just sitting next to him staring at him in a very awkward kind of way when there are like dozens of empty seats and everything. So they become friends, and apparently she helps Hannah out, and Hannah's like, well, how do I know you didn't lock me in the phone booth and tried to hurt me and blah blah. And then Hannah's all like, you know what, Caleb, this girl's trying to find her life in this new place, and and maybe you should stay with her till she gets settled. It's like, yeah, tell your boyfriend to go and stay in a town with a girl he just met and a girl who's just as hot as you. You know what I'm saying? So of course, the next episode, months goes by and he's back and he's all like, I'm leaving you, Hannah. I gotta stay there in Ravenswood and figure out what's going on and everything. So she basically gets dumped. And so Ravenswood was like the spinoff of the show. And FYI, the creepy guy on the bus turns out to be her uncle, and she had no idea. Anyways, so like Ravenswood was a very horrible spinoff created by, once again, Marlene King. And it has to do with like the paranormal, supernatural. So yes, Pretty Little Liars finally went to the supernatural route, which is really stupid. The show only lasted one season. And once the show ended, Caleb came back to Rosewood acting all weird, like, yo, man, I'm depressed. I don't want to talk about what happened. Things happen, Hannah. Okay, it's hard to explain, but things happen, Hannah. And it's just kind of like, the show was so god-awful. I tried twice to watch that show, and I could not. I truly believe that show is probably what ended the Miranda actress career because like after she did Ravenswood, she didn't act again for 4 more years. Her last acting gig was 2018. Yeah. Now, it could also be because of nagging injuries. She got hurt as a gymnast when she was young, went into acting. I don't know how severe it was, but she was able to act in everything else. So I just truly believe that spinoff killed her career. Speaking of career killers and everything, 2 of the actors from this season, one's new, one's recurring from last season. The Jake and Zach character, like Jake is Arya's new adult boyfriend who's the karate instructor, and he got in trouble because he defended his ex-fiancee slash baby mama. I forget her name, Christy something. She's a former pink Power Ranger from Power Ranger Ninja Steel, and she made some racist comments using the N-word, and he defended her. And he defended her in a very stupid kind of way, to where he had to apologize twice. Idiot. But of course, he's Latina, so of course they always feel like they can use the N-word and everything. Gets on my nerves. But then there is the Zach character. And he actually got fired from a CW show because old tweets resurfaced of him being racist and saying some god-awful things on Twitter. So he got canceled and he barely acts till this day. Seriously, man. Like, these actors, I don't get, like, because the Zach dude, he used, like, the N-word and was saying all kind of other horrible stuff on Twitter, and it's just kind of like, what is wrong with people? Why? Do y'all feel the need y'all have to say that word? Why does anybody feel the need to want to say that word, including my race, black people? I've never understood the obsession with wanting to say that word. It's like people are itching to say that word and they have to scratch it and stuff. Like, I don't get it. It's one of the most horrible words there is, and people are dying to say it. Probably the funniest thing that happens in the entirety of the show, it happens with Caleb and Toby. They literally figure out who, like, Redcoat / A is in a matter of minutes. One just doing like, a suspect board and everything, and then they go and interrogate this dude, and he later lies, and then they figure out, wait, we think he's lying. So then they go back to him, and he finally confesses. And this dude has ties to Jenna and like the Cece character from season 3, and it's just kind of like they figured this out in a matter of minute, and it takes the liars at least 2 seasons to figure out who an A is. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like that literally tells people just how easy it is to figure out who A is. Not to mention, why doesn't anybody ever go to the cops? Like, seriously, like the people in Rosewood are so daft in the head, man. Like, how are people gonna forgive Mona? How? This is also the season that gives us that black and white noir like episode. And I'm just glad it's not a musical, because I wouldn't be able to take it if it was a musical. I'm just not really into musicals no more. But the whole black and white noir thing was actually pretty cool. The visuals are very striking, especially now with the newer like digital cameras that we have, and it doesn't have that grain texture to it. It doesn't have that weird echo sound in the background. Everything's more heightened now with technology, and it really makes like, the black, white, grayish like aesthetic like really pop, especially with like the shadows and everything. And the episode still remained, grounded to where it was like they were still dealing with what's going on in this second story arc of the season, with Spencer popping pills, to stay awake, them trying to like find out like the whole A thing to bring Allie back home, and Spencer trying to pin all this on Ezra, because Ezra is like, acting very shady and spying on the girls. And at that time, viewers assumed he was like big A and everything. And so it was actually like a pretty cool like episode. And it was kind of cool to see people dress different, kind of be like out of character a little bit. It was like refreshing and stuff. But another part, and the major part of this entire season, is who killed Wilden and everything. And so, like, this is kind of, season 4 is kind of like a retread of season 1. A lot of the plots that happened in season 1 happened in season 4, just isn't written very well. They even try to recapture the ending to the first episode of season 1, where there's like a funeral, the girls come out and the detective talks to them. But this time, when the detective talks to them, the actor didn't have that same charisma as like Wilden. He was just very flat, very boring, very uninteresting. A lot of the new characters they introduced in season 4, going on to the finale in season 7, their acting isn't up to par. Like, their acting is kind of flat, and it really shows and make the show uninteresting. So these 2 new cops are just kind of boring, but they try to recapture that ending from season 1, episode 1. And it's a lot of plot threads, like I said before, that are very similar to season 1. Once again, Arya's in another adult relationship. She takes karate classes, and Jake, who's her instructor, I just now found out this dude's age. She is about 17, 18 now in high school, and he is exactly 22 years old, because there's a 5-year time jump. And when you subtract that from his age on what it says on Wiki Fandom, he's 22 years old. So they got her out of another relationship with a 20-year-old and put her in another relationship with a 20-year-old. This show is so gross when it comes to that crap. And so like back to the Wilden thing. Okay, like we get one flashback with him, and then we get like a made-up dream sequence with him. So the actor's barely showing up, and it would be nice to have some like flashbacks of showing like, his murder and stuff like that, instead of being told. And it's also confusing from season 3. I truly believe Wilden was supposed to be in season 4, but scheduling conflicts, so they had to kill his character off. It's like in season 3, he got hit by Ashley with the car because he threatened her and stuff, and she got scared and ran him over with the car. Then when her and Hannah went back to find him, he was gone, and then they got rid of like the car and stuff. Then the car showed up, like, in their garage, and it turned out to be Shauna and Jenna, like, who found Wilden and everything. So he was alive, but then all of a sudden he dies off screen in season 4, and now it's a huge mystery of like who did it and everything. And it's just kind of like, it would have been nice to see that, but the actor was unavailable, and so it's just kind of like, ugh, you know. And then it's not to mention, like, okay, on to character bios. Ren is very unusual this season. I mean, very unusual. He's always been like a shady kind of character, always going for like younger girls. There was Spencer, there was Hannah, like, but I truly believe that they intended for him to do a heck of a lot more, but the actor had other commitments. So when he shows up, he's at like the brew, and Hannah sees him and he's all excited. She mentions Mona and how she wants to see him, but when he realizes she's not there to see him, then he doesn't want to help her out. Then next thing you know, like, I believe he's trying to like talk to Mona, talking about like, I know you're lying about this. You didn't kill Wilden and everything. And Mona's being her typical Mona self. Then when Veronica like talks to Mona, he finds this out and he gets her kicked off the case to where she's no longer Ashley's lawyer. Then he calls somebody, and we still to this day don't really know who it is. And it's like an A-type person. A, red coat, whatever. And it's extremely shady. And it's like, what caused this dude to go down this dark path? Now, remember, I believe he is an original character. So what in the world did they have intended for him? Well, we would never find out until the very last season, in season 7, when he all of a sudden returns and he's a much evil person. It is sad to see his character go down that path, because even though he's bad with the younger girl thing, he was always seemed like a very charming, nice guy. But, I Marlene King fashion, I guess. Lucas does not appear whatsoever in this season, but he is mentioned in the first episode where Mona said that like he's the one that gave Emily that massage and that she felt very tense. It feels creepy, disgusting, and like an invasion of privacy. And I can't believe they wrote that for that dude, because he was part of the A-team. Like, I get he wants to be part of the A-team. He hates Allison. He likes Hannah. Hannah keeps rejecting him. But like Marlene King fashion, she doesn't commit. Like, in season 3, the dude was acting weird in the first half, then scared in the second, and then he got sidelined by a car by like, Toby and everything, because he was starting to talk a little too much and he wanted to leave town. And it's just like, they don't know what to do with his character. And more importantly, they don't know what to do once they turn somebody villainous. Ella and Zach. Ella really is not even in this season, which is a huge disappointment for me, because I love myself some Holly Marie Combs and everything. Like, I'm all about that Piper Hollowell from Charm. And so basically she debates if she's going to go on a vacation to another country with her younger boyfriend. And he's in his 20s though, and she's like in her 40s. And so like, after Mike has like, his temper tantrum of not wanting her to go because he's a mama's boy and everything, finally she decides she's gonna go and be happy and stuff like that. And this season was really missing her. Like, she brings this really soft motherly love quality to like the show, But then Ella shows back up about, the second to last episode of like, towards the end of the season. And basically she comes back to have Arya basically shout at her and blame her because she's pissed at the whole Ezra thing. Even though, like, talking about you should have been here for me and blah blah blah. But she's the one who literally told her mom go on a vacation and tried to get rid of her and stuff. I swear when it comes to Arya, man, like sometimes it seems like Arya is just like the worst. And a lot of fans believe the same thing. But basically, Zach proposed to like Ella off screen. And so, yeah. Byron is basically in like 2 episodes and don't really do nothing, and that's literally it. But at least Chad Lowe got to direct some episodes. Veronica, Spencer's mom. Basically, she's only in the show really in the first half of the season, and she's Ashley's lawyer because Ashley has been accused of killing Wilden and stuff. And so she's basically doing that. One interesting thing about Spencer's mom, I've always liked, she seems like the tough, mean one, but in a business kind of way. She is a bit rude and she is a bit like blunt. And that's because, she's a lawyer. She plays a lawyer very well to where you really truly think she is one. But she makes the dumbest mistake ever, even for a lawyer. Mona confessed to the murder, even though we know Mona did not do it. And she goes to Radley to go and talk to Mona and even threatens her a little bit because she knows Mona's lying about the whole thing. Well, Ren found this out and basically ratted her out to where she had to drop the case and could no longer be Ashley's lawyer, which is really stupid. Like, you would think she'll be smart enough. However, Veronica does reappear mostly towards the last couple of episodes to deal with that of Spencer's drug problem. And then we finally get to see her and her husband and the rat together, which is something they rarely do. Hannah's dad. So when Ashley is going through all this crap and basically gets locked up, he steps in and like visits Hannah for at least a couple of episodes. Caitlin reprimands him, which I just don't like. But anyways, it turns out she went to him after, she hit Wilden with the car and she was asking for money, but then she stole his gun. And it turned out that was the gun that was used to kill Wilden. And so basically after that, and he kind of just disappears from like the show, even before like it was found out that Ashley was innocent. They never really have this dude on the show that much. And I don't get it. I just don't get this show sometimes. You'd think a parent would be more like, in their child life, trying to figure out what's going on after all this crazy stuff happens. You know what I mean? Hannah's best friend stalked her. He knows about that. And it's just like, he's like, whatever. Ashley. So the first half of this season revolves around her. And it's quite interesting and really intriguing. Ashley's one of my favorite parents on the show. She's the only one who doesn't really do anything with no younger person. She doesn't do nothing like that. The only thing she ever did was like steal money from the bank. But like she is always there for Hannah and Hannah is always there for her. Even when confronting Wilden, because he threatened Ashley and threatened Hannah and stuff. And so she ran him over with the car when he refused to move. And then, we all know what happened in season 3. But anyways, they're doing the investigation. Of course, in typical Pretty Little Liars fashion, every time people ask her, especially Hannah, hey, did you do it? She's all like, let it go, Hannah. Like, they never just say yes or no. They always make themselves seem like they did something. Because and then they always give these weird looks and stuff like that. And Hannah had to like lie to the cops. I think even Emily had to lie to the cops and everything. And So basically, she's acting like she's guilty and like she did it, and they just won't get to the point. So eventually, they found out, yo, that's the gun. Her ex-husband is shot Weldon. How did that happen? And she gets arrested. And so she's in an orange jumpsuit and all this other stuff. And Hannah's like really upset and everything, and trying her best to figure out, like, how to set her mom free. So she comes up with the dumb idea of she's going to confess to the murder. And it's like, why, Hannah? Like, like, why? You're not going to make it in juvie, girl. And so, like, Ashley is going to face up to 20 years, and now she no longer has like a lawyer, and they want her to plead guilty so she can get a lighter sentence, and just says it was out of revenge. Mona, trying to turn over a new leaf, decides, you know what? Part of this is my fault, and I'm gonna make things better. And so she confesses to the murder because she knows Hannah is a terrible liar. Which is weird because Hannah's like part of the Pretty Little Liars. But anyway, so then she gets like completely away with it, right? Partially. Because what's her name confessed. But people are assuming Mona's lying. Ren is, like, Veronica is. But then this new character who just appears in the show out of anywhere, who starts to befriend Hannah. And he's all like, look, man, I was there. I know for a fact your mom didn't do it. And I saw who did it and blah, 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 blah. Instead of showing us this, he just says everything. And so he did the whole lineup thing. He said it wasn't her. He gave a sketch of Cece and said it was her. Why would the cops believe him and he has like no proof or nothing like that? Heck if I know, and stuff like that. But either way, she is once again partially free. But she had to like post bail. The pastor dude, Ted, posted bail for her. They went on a date, and that's basically her story arc. And then she helps Hannah get over Caleb when he leaves to go to Ravenswood by going to this place where you can shatter glass. I've always loved this dynamic between these two. They're one of the best, like, child parent, like, couples I've ever seen on television. However, Hannah is very hard-headed and never listens to her mom. Mike has a little bit to do this season. Basically, we find out that he's taking meds for his depression. And, like, one of his friends decided to lie on Arya and said that he hooked up with her, only for her not to do that. Somebody smashes Connor's car and they assume it's Mike, to the point that where he's gonna be suspended or expelled from school. But here is the thing. The thing that happened to Connor's car, it happened at like I think the brewery that they hang out with. That's far away from like school campus. So they can't. So let's say Mike did do it, right? Which he did not. But let's say he did. Even if he was to do that, that did not happen on school property, and they can't do nothing for him. Like, they literally can't suspend him for that. But it's not him. Fans assume it's Ezra. It seems like it's Ezra, but it could be wanting people to think it's Ezra or think it's Mike. Marlene King still has not said to this day who it was. But then, other than that, Mike just disappears like he always does in the season. And then he comes back to date Mona, of all people. It's like, dude, she stalked your sister and tried to kill some of your sister's friends. Why in the world would you date her? Like, people think Mona is completely sane in the head, even though she snapped and went crazy. And it's just like, the people in this city, man, they're weird. But it turns out Mona was just using him because Ezra wanted Mona to get close to Mike, to get close to Arya. And it's kind of like, why though? Why would she do that? Because Ezra was blackmailing her. But she's supposed to be the queen, remember? But she allowed herself to get blackmailed. Like, come on, man. All she had to do would be like, look, man, I'm finna go to the police and like tell them you was banging a high school girl. But of course, she no longer has evidence of that because all her stuff got stolen. But still. Peter Hastings comes in around the second half of the season, and he pretty much just bops in and bops out. Pretty much he's there to do what he always there to do, is get mad at Spencer, shout at her. He gets like, it's weird, like Spencer gets so pissed off at him that she runs to Toby's place because he has his own apartment, and she spends the night. Of course, they sleep together and they shower together. And when Peter goes to Toby's place, he sees like a half-naked Spencer and that of Toby. And he doesn't even get mad. He just looks disappointed and stuff and frustrated. It's like, shout, man, shout. Like, why are you not shouting at him and you be shouting at her? Basically, also what he does is the same thing. He gets mad at Spencer going through his stuff. He's hiding stuff from her. She wants to know the answers. He won't tell her. He tells her stop investigating. Blah, 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 blah. Then in the last episode, as the entire Hastings family, including Melissa, is being interrogated, the cops are starting to suspect Spencer that perhaps, just perhaps, she killed the girl who took Allie's place and everything. And so, like, he's all like, I'm gonna call my lawyer. So he's hiding something. And when talking to Melissa, well, actually, before he talks to Melissa, he's talking to Mary De Laurentiis, and they're hiding something as well. And he's worried, like, oh God, they must have found out about Spencer or something like that. So then he's talking to Melissa, and Melissa's all like, oh my God, do they think, Spencer killed that girl? Then she whispers something in his ear, and he is totally shocked and surprised about what Melissa's gonna tell him. And it's like, what the world did Melissa tell him? Now, here's the interesting thing about him and Veronica, right? I said before, those two don't share no screen time together except for one episode. And when they share it in the last episode, or the last two, they're far apart from each other in the kitchen, not even standing near each other, not talking face to face. And then in the last episode, where Veronica is in that episode, they have absolutely no screen time together. No. I suspect something happened. I don't know what that something is, but something happened. Because there's been lots of drama behind the scenes of this show. It's kind of weird how these two almost never have any screen time together. At first, I thought maybe it could be because of budgetary reasons. That's why she was in the first half, he was in the second, and she showed up a little bit towards the end. But then in that one episode where they're together but far apart, and they're still in that same episode but have no scenes together, makes me wonder if those two cannot get along. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a little speculation. I know she had a huge fight with Aria's mother and Emily's mother in real life because of that podcast they had. So it makes me wonder if something happened between her and him. Noel Kahn makes absolutely no sense in this season. A lot of people don't make no sense in this season. He only appears in one episode, the finale. Why? Why did he even show up? There's no point for him showing up, but you're just going to have him do that. Basically, he's been helping Allie out, and he's been giving her money, this and that. He gets her a passport, I guess with a fake name on it, of course, because she's still hiding. He gives her money and a plane ticket. Dude is only about 17, 18 years old now, and he's got her a fake passport. Seriously, man, it's like, I don't get it. So he takes all the girls' cell phones because he's redeemed now. He's a good guy now. After all that bad stuff he did in the other season. Now, technically in the first season, he was a good guy, but then he started blackmailing Ezra. But by season 2 and 3, oh no, he was scummy after that. Especially when he, taunted the girl, scared Aria, all this other crap, But he's a good guy now because they have to redeem him now because they can't have no bad people on this show unless they black or transgender. Oh no, wait, they redeemed that person too. So it's like, I guess it's only the black people that's evil on the show. Oh my God, man. And so he takes the girl phones and he keeps a lookout, but he didn't do a good job because here comes A, or A's accomplice, with guns shooting and all this other crap. Jason serves absolutely no point in this season as well. He only appears in like one episode. Basically, he's back after disappearing for so long. There was a ruse that he was in rehab and relapsed, but that was a fake. Dude went missing sometime in season 3 after the elevator accident, and he was in the hospital. He snuck out of the hospital and he just disappeared. Now all of a sudden he's back and he's looking shady like always. He didn't want to talk to Spencer or Emily when they saw him, but then he finally talked to Emily and Spencer had to literally corner him. And basically, I don't know, it's just like he's acting like weird and stuff. Like when she tells him she had another relapse in drugs, then he acted all caring and they started to talk, but not talk. And then he just left and disappeared again. I guess he's supposed to be a red herring as for this new A or whatever, but whatever. It's just like he joined another show. Look, they already recast him one time. You can recast him again if he couldn't be in the show. Melissa, what the world are they doing with this character? They literally have no idea. Clearly, they wanted to make her a bad character. And she even said in the podcast that at one point they talked about having her be A and all this other stuff. But of course, what happened? She joined Army Wives on their last season. So she couldn't really be in this season that much, but she was in the first half for a good bit, then showed back up in the finale. And so, like, basically, a lot of stuff needs to be explained because it was left in the air about last season. We already know she's Black Swan from season 2 because she already revealed how Mona was blackmailing her and all this and that. But apparently she was on the train as well, dressed as like, what was it, like a jester or something like that. And she did it because she was scared of Wilden and everything. And also I think she was scared of Cece. But it turns out Allie's scared of her and everything. What is so scary about Melissa? In all 4 seasons, Melissa really hasn't done anything that scary. She gets into arguments with her sister, but her sister ends up stealing her man and stealing all her other stuff. So it's like, it's just sisterly hate, you know what I'm saying? But why is everybody so terrified of her all of a sudden? And that's because they intended for her to be a whole lot bigger than what she was in the show, but it just did not happen. And so, like, she's constantly giving the evil eye all the time to Spencer friends, like, you know. So you think there's something up with her. And then when it turns out there's that creepy guy who makes masks, she lied and said she know nothing about it. But oh wait, she does, because she had her face plastered and turned into a mask. And basically talking about how she's always protecting Spencer and blah, 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 blah. And then she just ends up like leaving after she breaks all the masks because she doesn't want nothing tied back to her from that train. In the finale, as she's being interrogated, like I said before, she whispered in her dad's ear. We don't know at the time what it was, but spoiler alert, so, if Allie is alive, who the heck is sitting in her grave and everything? There's a blonde girl. Well, turns out somebody had to bury that blonde girl. And guess who it was? Melissa, apparently. Yeah, after Army Wives got canceled and everything, the actress came back for a couple of episodes in season 5. Then she left again permanently to be on that medical drama show as a main cast member. So they had to wrap up her storyline and wrap up as to what she told her dad in the ear. See, she thought Spencer killed that girl. See, the whole, like, you know, hockey field stick is coming back into play. No, the hockey stick was not the murder weapon, but they assumed Spencer might have used it to clock that girl in the head because Spencer was in and out of it because of drugs. So, protecting her sister, thinking her sister murdered somebody, she decided, I'm just gonna bury this girl in the backyard and pretend like nothing happened. Well, it contradicts every single thing that Melissa has done since season one. She known this has clearly been planned out like in season 5. It could not have been planned out from the beginning because everything Melissa does doesn't make sense. With the whole Ian thing now does not make no sense. If Melissa was part of the A team all along since season 2, she should know all about the Ian thing and everything, and how Jenna and all that stuff when she walked in on them. All right, who was? I thought it was Jenna that was scared of Melissa. But anyway, when she walked in on them on the room and everything, like she knows all this crap. She's like they even said she's known about all of this in the beginning, so she knew everything that's been going on since season 1. So it doesn't make no freaking sense. And if she really had it out for her sister, why is she protecting her by burying that girl if she's part of the A team and had it out for her sister? See. This is also why I say I don't like completely blame Marlene King. I do, because she's the head writer and she's the showrunner. But you know, when these actors put like a monkey wrench into their system, they have to like work around that and rewrite stuff. But you rewrite it a heck of a lot better than that. And the problem is they wrote themselves into a corner because they tried their best to turn Melissa all evil, only for them to not really commit to it because they like were going in other directions. And then the actors are like, look, man, I can't be here for no couple of episodes. I gotta go make some money. I gotta be on other shows. I gotta be part of a main cast. And so, like, you know, they tried to work around that, but they did such a sloppy job at it. This is what happens when you write yourself into a corner or write yourself into a hole. You dig and write yourself out, but they could not do that properly on this show. However, because Marlene King is Marlene King, the whole Melissa thing gets even more complicated in the next season, spoiler alert, because apparently Melissa was never being blackmailed to do all that stuff that she later said she did in season 2 and in season 3. And in season 4, like I said before, she said she's been protecting Spencer. And that's because Melissa formed a group in season 2 known as the Alliance. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Marlene King, I swear to God. And the whole goal at that time was to like protect Spencer, which is funny because they terrorized that girl. And so and the Alliance originally was Melissa, Jenna, and Shauna. This don't make any sense. This don't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. But then later the Alliance was reformed by Jenna to add in Sarah Harvey and Noel Khan. Oh, geez, I swear to God. Anyway, let's just get into Shauna and Jenna this season, because I swear to God. Jenna, she didn't do really nothing this season. She showed up, told either Emily or Spencer, like, you know, she's getting out of here because every person who was involved in all this crap is ending up dead, and she might too, and blah 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 and stuff like that. And so then later we see her at a frat party. Yeah, she's really trying to get out of there, all right. And she's there with Shauna. Then her and Shauna like get separated, and then all of a sudden we see Jenna face down in the water because somebody hit her in the back of the head, made her bleed, and like left her in like a pond, and she nearly drowned. And I think it was, I can't remember which one of the liars saved her, but they saved her. And after that, she got sent to the hospital and just was never seen again for the rest of the season. And this happened very early on in the show. So, no, this happened midway into the show, but we just don't never see Jenna no more. Oy, I swear. Nigel. Oh yeah, I forgot. Nigel's part of the Alliance as well. He is a very minor character and only shows up in season 4. And he's working for Jenna and Melissa and all them. And oh Jesus, I'm Marlene King. Anyways, at Wilden's funeral, Jenna shows up alongside with that of Nigel. Then when Toby and Caleb and interrogate him because he is the one who had to do something with that like flight plan and CC and all that other crap and Sarah Harvey. So basically he tells the boys that he flew CC Drake. He's the one who flew her to the lodge and everything like that, and she went under the name of Sarah Harvey, and at that time nobody knew who Sarah Harvey was because she hasn't been introduced yet. And so then it's shown that he's talking to Jenna. It's so confusing when it comes to him. He was not a very well fleshed out character, and you pretty much have to put the pieces together yourself, if not get confused, because Marlene King doesn't really explain nothing. But yeah, he's part of the stupid Alliance thing, and Lord Jesus, I swear this season has so many cracks in it. Shauna. How? How does this teeny tiny minor character become so big in the scheme of everything? I have no freaking idea, but has been present ever since season 2 as just a person who worked in a Halloween shop. I guess it's because, a lot of the black characters are either end up dead or be bad or something like that, or don't have much to do. They finally decided, hey, we're going to give this black person something to do. They gave her so much to do that eventually in season 5, they just said, screw it and let's just kill her. Because she's black. But it's clear from the get-go, she took over for everything Noel did. Even to the point of dating Jenna, which, complete shocker. And I mean, this is complete shocker. Jenna is actually bisexual. How? For all those other seasons, she's been banging dudes. You know what I'm saying? Toby, Garrett, Noel, probably other people that we've never seen, and probably even Nigel and everything. But apparently she's bisexual and madly in love with that of Shauna, and Shauna is madly in love with her. I guess they wanted to redeem both, actually redeem Jenna, so they're all like, okay, here's the great way to redeem her. Make her bisexual. That way everybody can have sympathy for her. Jenna's a horrible person, all right? Anyways, so it turns out that Shauna, is part of the Alliance, and she's dating Jenna. So she was doing some shady stuff in season 3 and a little bit in season 2. But then she transfers to Rosewood and gets under Emily's skin. But she's not really a villain this season. At least it doesn't appear to be. Why? Because secretly she's working for that of Allie. And of course she also knows Melissa because she's part of the Alliance. Oh, Jesus crap. Oh my God. I can't even get my words out. Jesus Christ, this is such a crap storyline. But yeah, she's part of I hate the Alliance. The Alliance don't make, oh my God. Anyways, she's known Allie since 3 years old, and she's been best friends with her because she lives next door to Allie's grandmother in Georgia. Oh, and she had a fling with Jenna over some type of summer camp thing because she needed to practice before she does the real thing with Emily. Oh my God. I swear to God. Anyways. They just kept throwing her in every little side character like plot, you know. But anyway, she's known Allie and she's been helping Allie this entire time, knowing she's alive, giving her money and this and that. So Allie calls her to spy on the liars and everything because one, she wants to protect them, and two, she also doesn't trust Jesus Christ. Anyway. Anyway, so she mostly has Emily get like the money for her and this and that because Emily's the weak one, and oh, also Jenna's afraid of Melissa, and oh wait, anyways, so like when she finally gets the money from like Emily and crap like that, she gives it back to like Emily, and Emily's supposed to like mail it off, but like Emily doesn't because of the whole page thing, and then somebody clocks her in the back of the head and puts her in the car, drives her to the border of like Rosewood and says like this is like you're exiting Rosewood, and then they wrote in red lettering don't come back or something like that. And so she gets scared, calls Allie and is all like, you know what, I can't do this, I'm out, I'm heading back to Georgia, bye. So then she drives off and we don't see her again, right? Completely abandoning her best friend and everything. Also, how come those two never dated if they're like, oh yeah, apparently Allie's a bisexual too and everything now, even though she said in the past she's not, and she was just playing around when it came to kissing Emily. But whatever, had to redeem her too. Spoiler alert, it is revealed that she is the one who shot Ezra at the end of this season. Why? Because of the Jenna thing. She's so in love with Jenna, she takes Mona's motivation from that of the books, and the books only. Basically, she wants revenge for the whole Jenna blinding thing. So she turns on Allie and tries to kill Allie at the end of this season along with the rest of the liars because of the whole Jenna thing. Now she's dressed in a hoodie and wears a black mask and carrying two guns. And so she chases all of them up to the roof where like eventually like a scuffle kind of like happens and Hannah grabs like one of the guns, and then she literally leaps from one building to another that's pretty far away. Oh, even after Emily asked, "You think we can jump and make it?" and all the other girls say at the same time, "No." But then somehow Shauna makes it. And then so Hannah, for whatever reason, doesn't even try to shoot her, thinking it's A. They could have ended it right then and there, but whatever. But somehow Ezra ended up getting shot because somehow he found out they was going to be there, and he tried to stop them because they had to redeem him. And so somehow he ended up getting shot and he collapses, and the next season she's at the hospital with Arya and she tries to kill him again, and then Arya kills her. So Shauna dies and everything. And then Jenna wants revenge for the whole Shauna thing. And how does a person working in a Halloween store end up doing all of this? This doesn't make no kind of sense. But like clearly she takes the role of Noel Khan. In season 3, Noel and Jenna are dating, and for whatever reason they just break up off screen. Then it's revealed that Shauna and Jenna are dating. It would have made more sense for Noel to be the one to try to kill like Allie and everything, or at least Ezra. More sense Ezra than it would be Allie. But it would whatchamacallit, because he didn't like Ezra in season 1 because of him and Arya and stuff like that. And he was also dating Jenna, so him trying to off Ezra would have made sense. And also he doesn't like the liars and stuff like that. But of course they had to redeem him for him being the international super spy that helps out like, what's her name? Allie and everything. because he was there at the end of season 4 and he helped Allie and he was took the girls' phones and he was gonna like keep a lookout. But then all of a sudden, A slash Shauna bypasses him and he's nowhere to be found. It would have made more sense if it was him. Plus, the person dressed as A had the shape of a man's body. So, you know. And of course, since the actor really wasn't going to come back because he's doing other stuff, they just gave it to Shauna. Oh, and before I forget, because I just did, there are two famous guest appearances in this show who play different characters. Rumor Willis, who is the daughter of Bruce Willis, she's also an actress but doesn't really act that much. And Marcia Clark, the woman who was like a prosecutor or something like that in the real life O.J. Simpson trial. She has like a cameo in this, and Rumor was like somebody who worked with Emily when like building houses in Haiti or something like that. I was shocked and surprised to see both these cameos. I'm just kind of like, okay, Rumor makes sense because she's an actress, but what is Marcia Clark doing here? Dean is kind of like Spencer's AA sponsor, but for drugs and everything. He's there to help her stay off drugs. He stays in their barn, and pretty much she's not supposed to have a cell phone, can't go to school, doesn't see her friends. How did these girls even graduate like the 12th grade if they're never in school this season? And so he's really strict on her when it comes to things, and he's always making her pee in a cup. But he gets fired when he falls asleep on the couch alongside with Spencer, and his head is on her butt. And Spencer's mom just completely freaked out and overreacted. I mean, I understand, but she overreacted. I mean, at least he's an adult who did not try nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that's saying something coming for this show. Riley is the one night stand that Arya had when she got drunk after she broke up with Ezra. At that point, this is the only person that's her actual age that she's ever been with. And so basically, she was all heartbroken after the whole Ezra thing. Went to this college, like, weekend, like, I forget what they call it, but it's like, when you're in high school and you go to like a college for like a weekend to see how everything is, like a college tour type thing. And so she meets him there. He plays music. He kind of has this rocker vibe to him. He's free spirited. They give each other like advice and stuff like that, and he decides to head back home and I think like make amends with his dad or something like that. For the most part, he's like a really nice guy, but he seems like he doesn't have no plans or no future in life. Detective Tanner is a brand new cop on the show who's investigating the death of Wilden along with her partner. For the most part, she's kind of just there. She's not really mean or nice. She's just like in the middle, just trying to figure out what's going on. She doesn't have really no impact on the show, and she's kind of just there. We do see her talk to Hannah, like, when she's just sitting on a bench staring at, like, it's like Hannah, the girls or whatever. It seems like all the cops always have some type of relationship with Hannah for some bizarre reason. Detective Hallbrook is her partner, and he's a little bit more interesting. Like, he's nice, but he's also trying to figure out what's going on. Once again, there's like this weird relationship with like Hannah and everything, because like after like, Ashley was set free, he keeps running into Hannah at the strangest places, on the street, at the brew. And he even suggests like she read this one book. And it's weird because it seems like he kind of likes her or stalking her or something like that. But for whatever reason, she does seem to like him, even to the point of giving him a kiss on the lips and then realizing what she did. He doesn't seem fazed by this. So it's like, oh God, they're going to make him into one of those characters because he's a man and everything on this show. And you know how they are on this show. So like, Then he's investigating the death of the girl inside Allie grave, aka Bethany Young. And so, like, he seems to be pretty up and up. He even helps Travis out when it comes to Travis' dad, which causes, Hannah to kiss him on the lips. Then in season 5, surprise, surprise, they have to ruin him. He kisses Allie and everything. Now, granted, by that time, there was no time jump, so she's around 18 years old or so, so she is an adult. But I don't know if she's 18 in high school or has graduated yet. Either way, because of that, he gets suspended. And even though she is an adult, she's a very young adult, and he's a grown man who's like a detective and everything. So it's kind of in the realm of kind of gross, kind of not. You know what I'm saying? But still, you know how this show is. Speaking of Travis, so Travis is a brand new character in season 4 and season 4 only. He's Hannah's new love interest once Caleb breaks up with her. So basically, he has this whole rough around the edges bad boy look, but he's actually very, very kind and very nice. But he does have that creepy vibe when you first see him. He saw who killed Wilden, so he helps get Ashley off the hook and everything. Turns out his dad had some type of shady thing going on with Wilden and was blackmailing his dad. And so after Hannah talked to Holbrook, his dad just got community service. For the most part, he's really nice and he'll do anything for Hannah for some bizarre reason. Like he helped her mom out. Then when she was at some type of wedding type thing, he helped get her away from that of Allie's mom. And he's just really nice and just really like caring. And cause Hannah, they made Hannah so slutty this season to where she kissed him on the lips and everything. Then she got scared and ran away. And then episodes later, they kind of started to date and everything. Now, oddly enough, he does not appear in the series no more after season 4. He's nowhere to be found in season 5 and not even mentioned. Why? Well, because the actor found another job being the main character on The Man in the High Castle, which is a very good show on Amazon Prime, and I've already reviewed that. Seriously, they just write these characters off with no explanation. Jake is Arya's new 22-year-old boyfriend. Yeah, that's right. He's 22 years old. I did the math. After the time jump and everything, he was 22 in season 4. Arya is around the age of 17/18 because she's a senior in high school. If she was born around the spring, which I have no idea, then she would be around 17, 18-ish. If it's 17, gross. If it's 18, kinda gross. Only because she's in high school, but still an adult. Ugh. I swear about this show. Anyway, so she's been broken up with Ezra since the beginning of this season. And so she wanted to start martial arts lessons because she is scared. And so while, learning martial arts, just like Hannah, for whatever reason, she kissed Jake on the lips, got scared and ran, and then he's not fazed by this. And they strike up a relationship. Eventually, they start dating. He's very nice, very caring, very sincere, and he will even stand up to Ezra and stuff because she finally decides to tell him about the whole Ezra thing, and he's kind of weirded out by that. But later on, they start to date, kind of, and kind of don't because she's not ready to date. But then when she sees him at Paige's birthday party for Emily, which I don't know why he was invited. People get invited to the weirdest thing in this show. Like when Allie ended up dead, why was Ezra at the funeral? And then for Wilden's death, why were the liars there? Why was anybody there at the funeral and stuff? But anyway, parties are no exception and he's at the party. And so he shows up with another girl because he's single and Arya doesn't want him, but Arya gets jealous and lets him know that. And then eventually they start dating. When they're at some type of like hoedown type thing, um, line country dancing, he sees Ezra staring at both him and Arya. And he does not like that, knowing who Ezra is. So he confronts Ezra about it. And so Ezra does not like this. Eventually, Arya ends up cheating on him with, of course, Ezra. And this was really stupid because she finally found a nice guy. Granted, he's too old for her, but but not that old. But like I said, I don't know, 17, 18, you know. And so, like, eventually she breaks up with him. He catches Ezra shouting at some woman, I don't know who she is, and slamming on, like, her car, acting all aggressive. Arya doesn't really want to believe this, but you know how Arya is, which Ezra later confesses to. Then, to write him off the show, which is, they just completely write him off, right before they write him off, he's practicing on his punching bag, and when he kicks it, he has blood on his foot as he's bleeding on the floor. Why? Because somebody put knives inside of his punching bag. We still to this day don't know who it is. Fans assumed it might be Ezra because Ezra was acting very strange in the second half of the season, but most likely it was A, because they wanted people to believe it was Ezra. But still to this day, it's never really been confirmed. Sarah Harvey. So she doesn't technically appear in this season, but technically she does. There's nothing but spoiler alert for this character since she kind of doesn't appear in this season. There's a stock footage of her and on like the internet. See, basically they was looking for Allie. They don't know if Allie's alive or dead. And so they found this missing girl and think that maybe she could be the one inside the grave. But no, she's still alive. And the show used a stock footage of her that they found on the internet because they never intended for this character to be a real character. But because this show is stupid and Marlene King lost her mind and everything when writing this show in the 5th, 6th, and 7th season, they decided to make her into a real character. So they hired an actress for the role who nobody likes because her acting wasn't very good. She appears in the whole dollhouse thing, but she's really working for CC. She's like part of the A team. She tries to harm the girl. She falls in love with like Emily because they have to ruin Emily and everything because she can't be happy. She was the one in the black veil at Wilden's funeral with nobody, like they never explained in season 4 who this person was, but eventually it's found out to be her. And so, yeah. Marlene King just lost her mind when it came to this character. Bethany Young. This is the dumbest storyline I have ever seen and one of the most confusing ever. Marlene King should have been fired after coming up with this storyline. Seriously. She should have just introduced Courtney, the twin of Allie, but no, she wanted Allie to be alive and everything. This is just stupid. And I literally mean stupid. Because of this new storyline added to the show in the 4th season, this negates so much stuff that happened all the way back in season 1. And everything that has to do with Jessica De Laurentiis, Detective Wilden, everybody who lives in Rosewood. This is the dumbest storyline ever. And I mean stupid. Marlene King should have been fired after this. Okay, so Bethany Young. This is nothing but spoiler alert. She is the girl in Allie's grave. How did everybody mistake her for Allie when they look absolutely nothing alike? Well, because everybody in Rosewood is stupid. So in a flashback in season 4, it is revealed that Jessica was pissed at Allie. Need to remind you, at this point in all season 4, Allie is dressing like a proper young lady. No longer like a slut, and is like even dressing very girly and dolly looking and stuff. And this is because they had to redeem the crap out of Allie, and also because they had to unsexualize that of Sasha, who was probably about 16 now in season 4. And oh yeah, by the way, at 16 years old, they had her kissing a grown man on the lips on the show. People need to be investigated on this show, man. Anyway, the writers, creators, I don't care. Just investigate them. Anyway, so somehow, and I don't know how. So once again, like I told you, Jessica was pissed at Allie. Allie is about 14 years old in this flashback. Because this is before she disappeared, right? She's about 14 years old, heck, maybe even 13. Somehow she convinced Bethany to dress up like her and get committed at Radley and everything, right? Now, at the time of death, Bethany was 17 years old. So somehow this 14, 13-year-old girl convinced a 16, 17-year-old girl to dress up like her, act like her, and then somehow get committed at Radley. This pissed Jessica off because she thought that Bethany was Allie. Need I remind you, she got a call from Radley and said your daughter Allison was at, Radley's sanitarium and everything, the crazy house and stuff. So she rushes there, sees it's Bethany, rushes back home to get pissed at like Allie. And it seems like Jessica has no idea who Bethany is. Well, here comes season 5 with all the confusion and everything. So, like I said before, all this is spoiler alert, even though I haven't gotten to 2 of these characters yet. It seems that Bethany is a troubled girl and has been at Radley multiple times and has befriended Charles De Laurentiis, who later turned into CC Drake, Charlotte, and everything. And Charles/Charlotte was only 12 years old. And her and Marion had some type of discussion about Charles wearing a dress, the boy in a dress. And so Bethany just decided, hey, I'm going to push her off the roof and everything, and killed Toby's mom. Now, Bethany should have been about 16, 17 years old. And Charlotte/Charles is no more than about 12 and everything. This timeline don't make no sense with the whole Toby saying in season 1 his mom killed herself a year ago. They clearly has changed like the timeline and everything because the writers have no idea what's even going on. This is why I said this was so confusing in the beginning of like my intro and stuff. So Bethany helped teach like Charles/Charlotte how to escape from Radley and all this other stuff. And so it turns out one time when Bethany escaped, she befriended Jessica De Laurentiis. So Jessica clearly knows who she is. Even bought her a horse. And why? Because Jessica was fooling around with Bethany's father, and she didn't like that. And so one night when she's at Jessica's home and everything, Jessica's looking out the window or something like that, and Bethany gets like clocked in the head by Mona. Why did Mona take a shovel and clock her in the head? Because she thought she was Allison. Because I guess she was dressed like Allison. Because Allison is able to manipulate a 17-year-old and make her do whatever she wants. Even though Allison was really young, about 15 or so at that time. Yeah. So Melissa saw this and thought, oh no, this must have been Spencer who killed Bethany. So she dug a hole and put Bethany in the ground and everything. Yeah. So when the police in episode 1 of season 1 thought they found Allison's body, it was really Bethany. But how? How did people not know who it was? Well, it's revealed and later on in season 5 that somebody switched the dental records and everything. That's why the police assumed it was Allie. But Wilden knows who Allie is. So he should have known that Bethany was not Allie. So why did he go on this crusade of trying to find out who killed Allie when he knew it was never Allie who was dead in that, grave? Because the writers in I, Marlene King have lost their minds. And how, you ask, do the whole town not know that this is Bethany and not Allie? And also the mom, if they went to Allie's funeral? Well, you have to go back to season 1, episode 1, like I did, and realize, oh, it was a closed funeral casket and everything. Nobody saw Allie's face or Bethany's face in the casket because it was a closed, casket and everything. However, Allie's parents should have seen, once the cops saw the body and they asked the parents identify the body, for whatever reason, Allie's parents just lied. For reasons unknown. And most likely Jessica lied because she had to bury Allison and everything and just decided, hey, I can't let Cece go to jail for clocking Allie in the head and everything because Allie thought Cece thought that Mona was dressed like Allie or whatever, or thought it was Bethany or whatever, and hit her in the head with a brick. And so, oh no, this turned out to be Allison. So Jessica decided, okay, let me dig that hole, bury my daughter since she's dead. Can't let Cece get blamed for this. So I'm just gonna lie and say Bethany is really Allie. So that now means everything that happened with Jessica De La Renta in season 1 and in season 2 and was just completely just when she got mad at the detectives for not finding her daughter's killer, when she got mad at the girls for something, when she threw all this hoopla for Allison and everything, all of that was just a lie because the writers clearly intended for Allie to be dead, but then here comes I, Marlene King and everything, nah, she gotta be alive, son. And we gotta figure out a way to write around this, and they wrote around it in the most stupidest way possible. And my God, I had to explain this in about 9 minutes and 36. Okay, I'm gonna cap it off right here. This is part 1 of season 4. The video got way too long. It's 3 hours and 12 minutes. So I decided to cut it in half to an hour and a half and stuff because it just got way too long. And the rest of the half I'm gonna upload very shortly or later on tonight. But yeah, it got a little too long with the intro, then talking about Ezra, Allie, and of course Spencer, because my God, give that woman an Oscar or an Emmy or something, the actress. So yeah, this is part 1 and I'll see you later. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.